So yesterday's class we're understanding about operator related things, right? Okay, so day one after you joining company, you should ask your manager about development URL and then you are supposed to ask for operator ID creation. Okay, so whoever is logging into Pega, they're considered as operators. So what are the roles available for operators? Someone from online, please tell. What are the roles available for an operator?
Author, uh,
The author role,
user,
come on,
the users,
user role,
admin, admin,
administrator role, and even
manager,
manager. Okay, so if you are joining in a company as like a business analyst, so what is the role to be given for you? So
User.
today you're joining one company as a business analyst. Okay, one operator ID must be created. What will be the role associated? Okay, maybe if you are joining like a developer, if you are joining like a developer, what is the role to be given?
author,
Author, right? Maybe if I'm a tester,
user,
it should be user. Now, if you are business analyst, then so business
User.
analyst, for he logging in, what is the next screen he generally gets? So kind of little development only, no? We call it as App Studio. Okay, so all these are considered as authors only, as earlier told you. Okay, who can access kind of development studio or maybe app studio or maybe designer studio? We'll call with different names. And users, what will be the output screen they get? User portal. Whenever administrator is logging in, what is the next screen he get? What is the studio name? Admin studio. And if a real manager is logging in, he has to get manager portal. So these things. So if this is our Pega login page, after I entering ID and password, hitting on the submit button, it has to hit the table and get some data, right? What is the referencing table for operators?
PR operators,
PR underscore operators. Why it is starting only with the PR? You'll get answer slowly. And what will be the other prefixed tables?
PR4, PC,
PR4. Okay, so you'll be having few tables starts with this as the prefix. Maybe few with this as the prefix. Maybe this as the prefix. And by the way, what is our main database name?
Pega data,
Pega data. Okay. And if this is our table, what is the primary key associated for that? Yesterday I told you. For PR operators table, what is the primary key? There will be one main column, right? What is the primary key?
PY user enter,
User identifier. PY user identifier. So what is the column holding? Username? PY username. Okay. So likewise, columns starts with PY or maybe PX or even PZ as the prefixes. Okay. So these things also you'll come to know. Okay. So till here, I think we understood. And for each and every operator, so this is our operators table. So you are saying it as PY user identifier, right? So for each and every operator. So how a role is important, the same way application name is also important, right? So this operator is a developer for credit card application. Okay, maybe this operator might be like an tester for loans application. Maybe another operator might be like an administrator for accounts application. Every operator must be given with some role for what application this you have to know. Okay, these things you have to know. Okay, understood with this? Understood, right, everyone? Got it?
yes.
Okay, now this is like development team where we are having two persons, Ravi, Raju. And he's supposed to develop credit card application and he's supposed to develop loans application. Okay. And Ravi will be given with author role for credit card application. Am I correct? Raju will be given with author role for loans application. Okay. So consider today Raju is on leave. manager here wanted to make this person one to work first 4 hours on this application, next 4 hours on this application. Get my point? So meaning whenever he is logging in with his operator ID, so morning wise, it has to take him to development studio for credit card application. Okay, maybe afternoon wise, it has to take him to development studio for loans application. That is what expectation kada. So if this is the scenario in database table for the operator Ravi, how many operator IDs we require?
Two.
Understood the logic? Understood the scenario? Online people? So now Ravi requires how many operator IDs? Is it like 1 or 2? Just guess and tell me. Cheppandi, someone unmute and talk. Is it like 1 enough or 2? 2 kavala?
It's like a unique record, right? So maybe one.
So it must be only one. So one person should have only one operator ID. And one operator can have multiple applications and multiple roles. That is what you have to correlate. Getting my point? Okay, so slowly you'll understand this table structure slowly. Right. So with this knowledge, we can start actually jumping into our Pega tool and we can start working on creating applications and other things. Okay, fine. So here, day one, my manager will create operator ID for me and I'll log in. So if manager is like joining, okay. So today I have to log in with my operator ID. My manager will create. So my manager also might have logged in somewhere, sometime long back, right? So someone should create operator ID for him. Maybe his manager. What about for his manager? What about for his manager? And there will be one starting point where we are supposed to log in with master credentials, right? So if this is like our project, so day one, we are getting license from Pega. So we are getting installed. So the first person, whoever is logging in, he will try to log in and create operator IDs for all of us. What is like ID and password for the first person? So Pega is even asking like login for the first person to be continued, right? So that is the reason Pega will provide one master credentials. Okay, so you are supposed to log in with that master credentials now. If I could able to log in with that master credential, so no doubt it must be like an operator ID available in our same table kada. Avuna kada? So PR operators is one table and day one I'm supposed to log in and do something, but still it is asking for kind of username and password, what Pega is giving. So maybe ABC is my ID, password as ABC Ankonde. So this is one predefined operator ID, which must be available in our table by this time. Okay. And what might be the role given for that? What might be the role? Just guess and tell me. And that master ID is administrator @ pega.com. Password as install. Okay, if I'm trying to log in, it will take me to the next screen. From there, further development, further extra operator ID creations will be possible. Okay. Now, even for this master login to be continued, next I have to get some screen, right? Will it be like user portal or manager portal or admin studio or what? So this operator ID administrator @pega.com should have some role. Am I correct? This must be having some application name. So what might be the role? Will it be author or admin? Guess just చెప్పండి.
Admin.
Author.
Is it like admin? Will it be author?
Author.
It must be author. Okay, we are supposed to get into development studio. From there only any further development of creating new application, creating new operator IDs will be continued. Okay, fine. So this will be taking for what application? He is author, right? No doubt. For what application? Did we create any application so far? We just installed Pega. We did not anything. We did not create any operator ID. We did not create any application. But we are already having one predefined operator ID. It must be connected with some role. It must be connected with some application. So what will be the application name?
Dev
So,
Studio?
no, I'm talking about application.
Application.
I'm talking about application name. Okay, so by this time, if an operator ID is created, no doubt application name also must be created, right? Some predefined application must be there. This is one predefined operator ID. So in Pega, whatever you see predefined. So I can say administrator@pega.com. This is one predefined operator ID. Okay, and the application name, what generally you see, it will be with the name Pega platform. Okay, let me log in and show you. Let me click on login. It must take me to Development Studio. And you can see the current application wherever you logged in. What is the application name it is showing now? Pega platform. So meaning Pega platform is also predefined, right? I did not create anything. It's like predefined application. Suppose if I wanted to send an email to the customer, consider if this is a screen, on click of this button, I have to send an email. So what is like predefined associated here? I already told you the name. What is that? What is it? Send email notification, right? So day one, I told you. So send email notification is one predefined Java related things. So in Pega, there will be hundreds of predefined things. It might be an operator ID, it might be an application name or XYZ or what might be. So all these predefined things in Pega, we are supposed to call it as OOTP. So meaning out of the box. Getting my point? Out of the box, predefined and call it as OOTP. So now I can say administrator@pega.com is one OOTP operator ID. And this application name, that is Pega platform. Pega platform, this is one OOTP application. And maybe if I can open this table at this moment, I can see some role, maybe like author, right? Another, there must be a role. So this particular role, did I create as a developer so far? No. Did we create it? No, right? So system is maintaining. There must be one OOTP role. So OOTP thing like send email notification, all these are predefined. So 90% there will be predefined things, what we technically call it as OOTP. What is its full form? Out of the box. Now with my OOTP operator ID, it is taking me to one OOTP application. From here, further development should happen. So from here, I can create n number of extra applications, maybe frameworks or implementations. So this is what you have to understand. Okay. So finally, we stepped into our actual Pega tool. This will be our actual Pega tool. And what we see it as Development Studio. And in this particular Pega tool, so whatever you are seeing at the top, okay, so whatever you are seeing at the top, so this we call it as header. Okay, where any kind of configurations will be happening. So what do you mean by configurations? Consider from here, if I'm trying to create new application. So I showed you, right? So after I clicking in this arrow, I'll be creating one new application, maybe credit card application. So that credit card application, I'll design it. Okay, by collecting customer first name, last name, and everything. And there must be a button for registration. Okay, if I click on this registration button, one email has to be sent. Okay, and this particular email related thing, what generally we'll do is, so we'll be having one email account separately created. Suppose I'll be having one Gmail account personally maintained. How I physically log in and compose an email, same email account has to be configured with my Pega application. So inside this Pega application, on respect to action, this email triggering will happen. Getting my point? So meaning our Pega application has to be connected to my personal Gmail account. So such email configurations or maybe such extra configurations, if it has to be done, that we generally do at like top this level. Getting my point? So likewise, Likewise, if and can, suppose if this is your Airtel application generally, and you are like normal customer. So you are trying to send an email from your personal email ID. So to support@airtel.com. After you sending your query, immediately you'll be getting one acknowledgement email. So request ID is like 1234. Please wait for 24 hours for resolution. Okay, so this particular email account, what they're trying to do is it is like configured with one application. So this is kind of inbound email configuration. This is kind of outbound. So our Pega application is looking for email inboxes here. Now our Pega application is sending emails here. This we call it as outbound email configuration. Maybe this as inbound. So any such configurations generally we will do at this header level. Okay, let me tell you everything in just one single line. Slowly we'll come to know everything in detail. And whatever the left one you are seeing. So this we call it as Explorer. Okay, this we call it as Explorer. So any kind of development work will be happening at this Explorer part only. I have to drag and drop and something, right? So you are supposed to get the things dragged from here only. So kind of exploring the things. And whatever you are seeing below, whatever you are seeing below. So this is kind of completely footer part where any kind of debugging options will be there. Okay, any kind of debugging options. So consider today you joined one company as a Pega developer. So today your manager is straight away asking you to look at one defect number 12345. So what is this defect statement talking about? So whenever in a credit card application, after customer is registering, email is not being triggered. That is the defect. Email is not triggered. So what you will be doing? So for this, there will not be any KT also given for you. Okay, so you will be logging in with your operator ID and password. Then you are supposed to click on any of these options and check what is happening. Suppose if I just put tracer, you can see one thing like tracer, right? So after you logging in, you have to put this tracer on. So tracer, what generally it will do is it will try to trace each and every event as part of development, whatever happening. So I'll try to click on this login button and check what is happening in the background. What type of Java code is being executed or what type of SQL queries, maybe email triggering to the third party application. Is it getting failed or issue is from our level or third party mailbox level? So sometimes issues will be from Google settings also. Okay, Google, you'll be seeing some security related options, right? So you are supposed to toggle those. Okay, so every such issue you will be understanding from this, any of the debugging options. All these are like footers, part of footer. You'll come to know everything. And here you can see something like one banner, welcome banner, right? So this welcome banner, what is it clearly saying? So in this welcome banner, you can see kind of mountains with some clouds, maybe some stars. And here they're showing it like Pega Infinity. What do you mean by Pega Infinity? So currently, you should first know Pega versions available. Okay, so 8.0, 8.1. Likewise, we are having till 8.8 version. Before that, 7.0, maybe till 7.4. Before that, 6.0 till 6.3 and 5.0 till 5.4. Okay, and then after 8.8, they released something like version 23.1, 23.2, 3, 4 and 24.1, 24.2, 24.3, 24.4. Okay, so this is what. And all these versions are running on cloud. Getting my point? All these versions will be running on cloud. And the next version will be 25.1. So 25 is nothing but current year. Okay, and dot one is nothing but first quarter. Okay, and second quarter they'll release one more version. Third quarter they'll release one more. Fourth quarter. After that 26.1. This is what they're trying to change the Pega versions. Okay, so you need not worry on these latest versions also. More or less everything will be same. So we are trying to understand most of the content on this latest. So this is like a latest one. They did not even release these two things also. Actually, as per their schedule, this should be the version, right? We are in 2025 and quarter number. So they must be releasing this version, but still we are at like 24.2. Okay. And even this 24 version or 23 version is released at almost like 2024 only. Okay. So in any of like 8.0 version. Okay. So now I'm trying to show you somewhere at 8.7, right? And if you log in at 8.0 or maybe 8.1, whatever it is, in any part of this 8th versions, from 8th versions, you will see with something called Pega Infinity. You can see it here, right? You'll see with something called Pega Infinity. So Pega Infinity meaning after 7.4 version, whatever the next version they released, it is having huge number of extra changes, n number of extra things. That is the reason they're simply claiming it as Pega Infinity, where development and other things are almost like infinity to the sky level. So that is what their banner is. Okay, development related things almost reaching to infinity level, sky and other things. Okay, so this is just a banner. But today, interviewers, they will be asking you whether you have experience working in infinity versions or not. So from their perspective, infinity version meaning these things. Okay, even from 8.0 itself, we should call it as infinity. That is what we are seeing directly in the welcome banner. But in interviews, if they're asking you whether having experience working in infinity version or not, so they're thinking about these things. Getting my point? Okay, and this as a whole to be generally considered as infinity only, need not worry. And that too, you might be working on any part of your infinity version. So mostly 99% difference will not be there, maybe except in terms of Gen A and front-end related constellation part, very few things. Hardly 90% it will be similar. Okay, so interviewers, they'll ask you whether you have experience working with Infinity version. They'll not particularly ask you whether you got like 8.1 version experience or not, maybe 8.2 also, you need not worry. Okay, we as a developer, we should understand the core design of Pega tool. If that is the scenario, in whatever the version you might be, you can happily manage. Okay, maybe one version to another version, there might be very minor changes. Okay, so to accept the statement, from 8th version, mostly it will be similar. And after 7.4, there are n number of extra changes. After 6.3, there are like n number of changes. From 8.0 till date, so there are nothing much changes here. So I'll tell you with one small example. So consider taking one Photoshop software. Okay, I'm trying to run one photo studio and this is the software I generally use. And this might be working on 6th version. I'm trying to use 6th version. And latest version might be something like version number 20, consider. Okay, and I'm having a lot of experience doing any kind of development, any kind of work here. So if I'm trying to upgrade to the latest version, if I can able to explore everything for 1 week, I'll understand, right? Since I'm familiar in one version of that same tool, so other version learning is not a big challenge for me. Similarly, you as a developer will be in the same cycle. Okay, so you need not bother about the exact version number. You should understand the core functionalities of each and every. Got it right? So finally, we are understanding what actual Pega tool will be looking like. Fine. And if we are logging in any past versions, maybe other than Infinity versions, from 8.0, we can consider it as Infinity. Maybe if you're logging in somewhere in 7.4 or 7.2. So what you'll observe is, here instead of Dev Studio, you'll see something called a Designer Studio. You'll see something called Designer Studio. And here today we are seeing it as Pega platform, right? So there you'll see something called Pega rules. Okay, there you'll see something called Pega rules. So these two are like important differences what you observe. So in 7th version, as I told you, major things are not automated. Okay, so generally as part of complete product to be done, So development should be there, maybe further testing should be there, maybe UAT phase, pre-prod kind of deployment should happen in between. Okay, visualization, all these things should be there, right? So this as a whole constitute our completion. Yeah, completion. And maybe 7th version, here you will see it as Designer Studio, meaning mostly development alone can be done. So other part of deployment and other things, so it is like little challenge. Okay, so you'll be having it separately done with something like SMAs. But from 8th version, in this single tool itself, everything is automated. This as a whole, they are giving it as development studio. Whole from starting to end, this can be done in this single platform. So that is the reason they're claiming it as Dev Studio with something like Pega Infinite as the subversion. Okay, so these things you have to know. Okay, fine. So now I logged into somewhere like Infinity version and I can see Pega platform as one OOTP now. Am I correct? You log into any latest version, you'll see Pega platform as the main one. And from this Pega platform, so maybe today you'll create one new application which might be as framework. And then you'll be creating one more sub framework for that. And one more sub framework for that. And you might be creating one credit card application, loans application, accounts, maybe different 3 applications here, no doubt. Okay, so from here, further things will be happening. So consider if I logged into something older versions, maybe 7th version. So in 7th version, what is the topmost application name we see? Just now I told you. Come on. What will be the application name? Here it is like
Pega
Pega,
rules.
right?
Pega rules.
Here it will be displayed as what? Pega rules. So if I logged into 7th version, consider my project is still on 7th version. There will be cases. And here, to create a new application, this is the navigation I have to follow. So from Pega rules, one framework application will be generated, right? Okay. And from there, maybe it's sub framework 1, maybe framework 2, and 3 implementations and 3 implementations. Okay. So, okay. So my project started almost like 2015. So by that time, 7th version is the latest one. So I'm trying to design all these things. And today it is like 2025. So my management from here wanted to upgrade to the latest version. Okay, latest version. So latest version meaning whatever the work we are doing from past 10 years, it should be upgraded. Exactly from there, I can continue. It's not like again, I have to do everything from beginning, right? So there must be 10 years of effort to be reused. Kada? First, we will be installing the latest version, maybe 8 or 23 or whatever it is. First, we have to install it, right? Our network team will do that. If we are installing, what is the main application name? Now we will see. Come on. What is the main one we see now? Pega platform. It's not Pega rules, kada? So after I installing the latest one, what is the application name? I'll see Pega platform. Okay. So here, the whole thing has to be upgraded to the latest one. So in that scenario, this framework has to be upgraded here. And this one should be somewhere showing up here. And this one should be showing up here. So this is what my expectation is, right? So now tell me, if this is my credit card application, so can an credit card application be upgraded without its framework one? Yes or no? So here I have credit card connected to F1. So can I simply maintain credit card without F1 pushed here? Possible or not? Not possible, right? Credit card will not work without F1. Okay. And similarly, F1 will not work without main FW, right? So for F1 should be to be successfully working, it must be pulling out with its parent. FW also should be there. Likewise, for this main framework to be successfully working on, so it is pulled out from where now? Pega rules. And here, are we having any Pega rules? Are we having any Pega rules? So if I'm trying to upgrade the existing framework into this one, so it has got most of the content from Pega rules, which is not currently available. So can this framework work without having its parent as Pega rules? Ideally, tell me, is this upgradation looks possible? There will be challenge, right? Follow అవుతున్నారా? Online everyone following, right? చెప్పాలి. Online, is everyone following?
Yes.
Yeah. So got my question?
Some of the rules may not work.
Sorry.
Some of the rules may not work here.
So if at least few things are not working, will upgradation be success? No, right? So whatever the things you are doing it here, it must be completely upgraded. So maybe out of 100 things, if at least one is missing, okay, whole upgradation might be failed. So no doubt you might not get the complete output. Avuna kada? So in that scenario, why Pega is changing the application name? Is this not a problem for upgrade related projects? Okay, maybe today we are starting a new organization like ABC, and I wanted to create one credit card application. So if I'm choosing 23 version and doing everything, no problem for me. Okay, I have to create this. I have to create new framework connected to existing Pega platform. So I'll create one more thing connected to this one. So this structure will be helping for the new projects. And if it is like something to be upgraded, which is like Pega rules there, and if it like Pega rules not available here, so how it will be supported for upgradation part? So these things you have to know. So if latest versions are not supporting the older one, so will anyone migrate today? Will anyone migrate today? And coming to the earlier example, so you are like in Photoshop owner, photo studio related thing, and you are having n number of projects done. So marriage related photos or maybe some kind of videos, whatever it is. So this you are supposed to upgrade to the latest version of Photoshop. And what are all the work you have done so far if it is not supported? So will you upgrade? No, right? No. So every version, it might be Pega related or whatever it is. Every tool today should be supporting equally for the latest projects as well as for the existing projects. So if they're simply changing the name to Pega platform from Pega rules, how they can manage the older ones? These things you have to know. So for this, let me tell you with one small example. So consider Ravi is one manager, development manager, and he's like having Rahul as one team member and maybe Raju as one another team member. So within which Ramya is one team member and Ramesh is like another member. Okay, fine. All are like developers. So now Ramya, she's getting married. Okay, she's getting married. So after she's getting married, so maybe her full name is like B Ramya. After she is getting married, she wanted to update her name, surname, and other things. So something like A. Ramya. So if her name is changed, okay, if her name is changed, so will she be not reporting to Raju? Even after name is getting changed, so it should not disturb this existing structure, right? Ideally, so she must be still under Raju only. She must be Raju must be still under Ravi only. So what is happening? So even after name is getting updated, the structure is not disturbed because background processing, everything is happening based on IDs. Am I correct? So her employee ID will not change, right? So this might be her employee ID. Even after her changing the name, ID will not be disturbed. Everywhere processing will happen based on IDs only. Am I correct? Exactly in Pega also, each and everything will process based on ID only. Okay, so now you take anything in Pega. So it might be an application, it might be an operator ID, or it might be an uh, first name, last name, whatever it is, everything will be having some ID to be processed. Okay, now if I just open this Pega platform and check for the definition, generally if I look for definition, what I'll get? Some information about Pega platform is what you'll get it, right? So click on this one. Click on this. You can see its name as Pega platform and its ID as what? Pega rules. Okay, its idea is what? Pega rules. So meaning in the past versions of Pega, okay, in 7th version, if I log in, I'll see as Pega rules only. If I check for its definition, I'll see its name as Pega rules and its ID also as Pega rules. And latest versions, I'm seeing it as Pega platform. Now, if I check for definition, ID is equal to Pega rules only, maybe name as Pega platform. So they have just updated the name. If name is updated, generally structure will not be disturbed because processing everything happens on IDs only. Meaning this framework is built on Pega rules, which is like ID, not with the name. So if I'm trying to upgrade my older one, so this will be looking for Pega rules as one ID. It will not check for Pega platform. Okay, so maybe if I click on this one and update the name to something different like this, not a problem for me. So I can just update the name n number of times. It's not at all a problem. Background processing, everything is happening based on the rule only. So in the latest version, suppose even after 10 years, so if Pega is having something like version number 50, consider. So if I log in there, I can see something with the name as Pega Super Platform, but its ID should be same Pega rules only. So finally, in Pega, each and everything is processing based on the rules, right? Avuna kada? Each and everything processing based on ID. And that too, everything is to be called as a rule. Everything is to be called as a rule. Okay. So you take anything in Pega. So if you say it as application, that is a rule background. If you take say it as an operator, that's a rule. Okay. And if you say something like an image, it's a rule. And if you're supposed to design a screen with something like first name, last name, all these are like collection of rules. Okay, in Pega, everything is to be considered as a rule. One rule will have ID and it will be having name. And both can be same or need not be also. These things you have to know. Okay, fine. Suppose if I'm trying to, or my main requirement here is, I wanted to create one credit card application. And within this application, there must be a button. Consider I'm a bank employee. Okay, so after logging in, I'll get one credit card application, user portal, right? So there will be a button like click here to register for credit card customer. On click of this, I'll get screen number 1 to collect customer details. Maybe screen number 2, I'll collect his educational details. Screen number 3, something different. Screen number 4. So till final 10th screen is done, customer registration is completed, right? So finally, what are we doing is this application is mainly meant for registering few customers in this example I'm talking about. So for a successful output to be achieved, what are we doing? So first we are trying to create one application. That's a rule. And this application internally calling section number 1, screen number 1, it's a rule. And this is having n number of internal things. All these are rules. And another rule and its collection, another rule, all and its collection. For a successful output to be achieved, so Pega is trying to process hundreds of rules. Am I correct? Hundreds of rules. So since it is trying to process n number of rules and getting some output, so there is something called, it is trying to uh, process each and every rule, right? So this is to be considered as Pega rules process commander. Okay, so using Pega, we are trying to process all the rules to get some output. So this is like an Pega rules process commander is like running in the background. And in short, we call it as PRPC. So whatever like Pega tool we are seeing now, it is having one powerful engine to process all the rules to generate some output. So that is the reason we call this tool as PRPC tool. Okay. So from today, every one of us should call this as PRPC. You should not call it as Pega tool. It is to be called as Pega PRPC tool. Okay. Suppose if you are purchasing one laptop today, okay, laptop, where you will purchase? Maybe under Chroma, right? So we know Chroma kada. So Chroma is one unit. So if I ask you where did you purchase, you should say it as Chroma. You should not say it as Tata. So Tata is one biggest organization. It is having n number of units, out of which Chroma has one. Similarly, Pega is one big organization which has got PRPC as one single tool, which has got something like RP as another one. So it is into different things, sales, marketing, everything. So today we are learning something about like PRPC, which is completely running on PPM sector. So if you see anything like Pega related PPM jobs, you can happily apply for that. Pega BPM and PRPC. And if you see something like Pega PRPC, so no doubt this is what we're trying to understand. Okay. And in Naukri or somewhere, if you see Pega jobs, what does that mean? What does that mean? Whoever the recruiter posting this position, they are having little knowledge about Pega. Okay, Pega jobs meaning Pega PRPC only. Okay, Pega is most famous into PRPC. Okay, most of the income is generated to Pega because of this tool. So Pega is famous onto this one. So from today, every one of us should call it as PRPC. Why? In Pega, everything is to be called as a rule. It is trying to process all the rules. And every rule will be having a name as well as ID. And processing will be happening based on IDs only. And if this particular rule is already predefined, we call it as OOTB rule. And if it is like something what we are supposed to create, it is like user defined rule or user created rule. Okay. So I can say Pega platform or administrated at pega.com, send email notification. All these are like OOTB rules. Maybe if I'm supposed to include one image, HDFC logo, and small video continuously playing for that, and something about first name and last name, and on click of this email has to be triggered. Then, so this image and this video and maybe these two text fields, these are like to be user has to be creating that. And on click of this email related will be OOTB. So processing will be everything based on rule. It might be OOTB or user created rules. Got it right? So for everyone clear? Everyone clear, right? So why are we calling this as PRP? This you have to know. And what is OOTB also? This you have to know. Okay.
Hi, Chandra, I have one question. So you said every rule will have an ID and name, right? Even for the user-defined ones also, we
Yes.
will have an ID. Do we
Yes.
need to create it, or Pega will generate it on by its own?
Suppose if this is the screen, you tell me. I wanted to go for first name, last name, and on click of this, I have to go for email triggering. This is my requirement, right? So, on click of this button, there is something called send email notification. So send email notification, is it OOTB or not?
Yes.
OTP. It's an OOTP. So where it should be having some name and ID. Will not bother about the name anywhere. So I can simply call that ID. I can simply plug in that ID on this button click. And first name and last name. So you will not be having. You are supposed to create it, right? If you are trying to create some rule, so system should understand what is the name and ID. So how it will be automatically generating. So based on the name, whatever I provide, ID will be automatically recreated. Okay, suppose I'll show you something about creating first name. I wanted to create first name. Okay, so first space name is what I'm giving. And if I'm trying to tab out, immediately its identifier is generated, right? Its identifier is generated. And this as a whole, because of we creating it is happening, but ID, there will be a number of restrictions. So here you can see this will be your name getting generated and this will be the ID for that. Okay. Got it right? Based on the label or based on the name, whatever we provide, one rule will be created and ID will be as per its restrictions. It should not be having more than 14 characters. It should not be having any special symbols or even spaces. It will be trimming according to that. Maybe if I'm supposed to edit this, and if I'm trying to define something like this, it will accept. It will accept. As I told you, both need not be same. And maybe displaying wise, I have to show like this. Please enter your name. This is what I wanted to display. And ID can be something about like first name, right? Okay, both are different, but it should not be having some extra things like if I try giving spaces, it will throw there. Got it? Understood, right?
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
Any more questions, anyone?
That identity will automatically display. That will be OTP.
It's not OOTP. This is something what I am creating, right? Okay, so this is not OOTP. If I show you something like this, send email notification. I did not create this. I don't know how to create this also. System is maintaining. This is OOTP. So if we just cross check, its ID as send email notification and its name also the same. If I wanted to modify the name just for our understanding, it can be possible. Okay, fine. So as of now, we're understanding what PRPC is and what OOTP is. So with this knowledge, we can create one new application. Fine. So if I'm trying to create one new application, so this is the navigation generally to create a new application. I'll select this. Then I'll get a screen. I'll get a some screen. And in that screen, I'll be entering so and so application name ABC. And after that, it will ask me what is this application type? Is it about framework or implementation? Kada? We understood two types of applications, right? So the new application, whatever I'm creating now, it will be asking like type, maybe framework or implementation. For the first one, I'll choose framework. Okay, and if I click on submit, that's it. Application is getting done. Okay, next time I'll be again choosing new application and then I'll select implementation and click on next. That's it. So meaning one application creation is just like 2 steps away, right? Just 2 steps. I have to define the name, I have to select the type and click on submit. Okay, but generally in the background, what happens is there must be database related and other things to be done. So consider this as our city. And I'm trying to create one framework and maybe 2 implementations. Consider 2 implementations. Okay, once this credit card application is completely designed, so one bank employee generally logs in and he will try to register all the customers using this, right? And all the customer data, no doubt it has to be maintained in one database table. Avuna kada? And whatever the loans application we are generally maintaining and all its transactional data should be maintained in one database table, right? So finally, each and every application should have a database table. It's basic common sense for us. So now if this is our whole database, so we'll be having more than 500 tables as of now. So creating 2 extra applications will create 2 extra tables. Kada? If I create few other applications, tables count is getting increased, right? So this application no doubt should be connected to this table only. This application should be connected to this table only. So here, after maybe simply if I'm trying to follow 2 steps, background one application has to be created. Application rule, everything is a rule, right? Application has to be created. There must be one database table created and this application should be connected to this table only. There we call it as mapping rule. Database mapping rule must be created. And within this application, some people has to log in and do further things, right? Meaning operator IDs must be created and those operators must be given with some roles. Roles must be created, some kind of security related things. So here I can see application is just a 2 step away, but n number of things are running in the background. Am I correct? N number of things are running by just creating one application. So all these are successfully getting created by getting help from Pega platform. Am I correct? So I'm trying to click one, I'm trying to create new application on top of Pega platform, meaning Pega platform is already having few things ready-made. And the new application, whatever I'm creating now, it is getting help from Pega platform and successfully maintained. In that scenario, Pega platform is supplying all its rules for a new application to be successfully created. So if it is supplying all its rules to below, so can't I call this as one framework? It's kind of framework only. No? Suppose I have one application framework. So this application, whatever the content it is internally having, so those will be supplied to all of its childs and successfully for running. Kada? Similarly, Pega platform is having some OOTB rules. And based on this OOTB design, my new application is getting successfully created and we can consider Pega platform as one OOTB framework. Am I correct? Yes or no? This is one OOTB framework. On top of it, OOTB framework will create some extra frameworks and we'll create implementations. These things we have to. So I'll talk about this Pega platform and maybe OOTB frameworks and all other part tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll start creating a new application also. And we'll be working on 3 major applications. So one is under banking sector. I'll explain all those things tomorrow. Okay. So today's class, everyone clear, right? Any questions, anyone? Okay, so today you will be shared with interview questions on this topic as well. From today, you'll be getting interview question and answers also in PDF format as well as video formatted also. So you can just try to correlate everything. Clear, kada every one of you? Any questions or any clarifications required?